Welcome, everybody. Let's just dive in. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Good Life Visual Audio Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, C. Muzan. I got Kabi here in the building. Say what's up, Kabi.
What up, though? Shout out Detroit, Detroit Lions, Detroit Pistons. Uncle Jalen, what's going on? Listen, shout out, man. Never been to Detroit, but they've adopted me. I already put in the paperwork. Did you know Detroit is the most hated city, but yet the most poised for success in the next 200 plus years? Just pay attention. We coming for you. We coming for everything. Shout out Detroit.
Shout out to Detroit. Again, the city that we shout out that neither of us have been to, but it's got some history there, right? We got some love for it. We're going to keep shouting it out. We'll start giving y'all some fun facts, right? That's what we talked about.
And I'm going to tell y'all why. I'm going to tell y'all why for a second. All right. Because, here on the Good Life Show in general, we're all about the Davids. Right, we're all about the Davids. We're for the small, the underdog that keeps fighting. Right, Detroit used to be that town. It used to be that city, but it got knocked down. But it's still fighting. Mm-hmm. Nobody wanted to go to Detroit not that long ago. Right? What's his name? Berkshire Hathaway guy. What's his name?
Warren Buffett.
Warren Buffett and owner of the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Dan Gilbert,
Warren Buffett got together, right, when Detroit was down on its knees and bought up like 55% of the town. See, y'all didn't hear about this. They bought up most of the town. Now, they revitalized it. They brought it back a little bit. Obviously not. They weren't hurting in the pockets when they did that, right? But Detroit is still fighting, and that's what we like to see. That's what we like to see. So that's why we shout out Detroit. We're about the Davids on this show, right? We don't hate the Goliaths, but we're ruling for the Davids.
I love that. That's like a philosophy in life. Always like rooting for the underdog, the Davids, the ones that are the fighters. We like that is a motto. I feel like that's something I do that in sports. Like if I just am watching sports, I don't have a favorite team. I always just go for like the underdog typically. Like I want to see the comeback. I want to see outside of Philly sports, right? Shout out Philly again. But outside
I'm about to make a switch. I'm gonna switch. You keep going, brother. I'm about to make a switch.
Cool. But outside of Philly sports, all the other things, right? Anytime I'm watching a baseball game, basketball game, football game, I'm always going for the underdog, the David, so to speak. The David. That's a motto. That's something that we should be paying attention to a lot. I think if more people rooted for the underdogs, we'd give a lot more encouragement to whether we're talking a city, a team, it don't matter. But we got to start showing love to the underdog. So either way.
There we go. Now I see y'all close hopping on Instagram. What's going on, family?
There we go.
There we go.
We're in there.
And we're here. Just like you said, the Davids. The Davids.
That's what it's about.
If you're hopping on, how do you put a message on Instagram? I don't even know. But tell us where are you listening from? Yesterday was really cool, brother. We had people from Peru, Colombia, had people from Denmark, Brazil, had people from Portugal. Right, no African countries. I was sad to see, but that's all right. Have people from Philly, right? Have people from no Detroit. I was sad to see that. No Detroit. Have people from Atlanta, a couple other places. So where you Canada, Ontario? I see you.
Jake from Canada. That's what's up. Our Canadian brothers and sisters. We're doing great, Jake. We're doing great.
Good to see you. Hey, West Virginia, shout out. Good to see you, brother.
Yes, we appreciate all you guys tuning in. Again, this is the Good Life Visual Audio Podcast, right? We come in here talking health, wealth, mindset, all the things that you need to do to get yourself to the life that you want, aka the good life, the great life. That's what we're here to chat about. So today We're diving into some health talks. We're talking around some things around how to really be healthy here in this and the latter part of the year, heading into next year, specifically talking about our food system, how we're eating, where this food is coming from, how we're consuming it. All these things are incredibly important. I'll preface really quick and I'll toss it to my guy here. I have a culinary background. So
Mm.
food has been an integral part of the last, I don't know, 16, 17 years of my life, so to speak. Just dealing with different foods, being introduced to different foods, being introduced to different cooking methods. Um, Nutrition was a class that you take in culinary school, but it's only one class, like one course. So you don't really get a ton of things around
That's one
nutrition.
more than medical doctors. What?
What? Huh?
Who
What?
said that?
Who?
God, my mic, man. I need a new mic.
Gotta switch the mic. Somebody's some aliens tapping in. But I only took one course on nutrition. The rest of it was really just about how to prepare certain things and playing with different food items. But the conversation that we're having today, I think it even transcends a little bit more than just even me with my culinary background. There's so much that I don't understand about where food comes from, how our system actually works, how this leads to health or disease. Either way, there's so much in this conversation around our food system that we needed to have this conversation for you guys. So, could be, I'm gonna toss it to you, brother, to kind of just lead the convo and talk about what you're seeing out there and what people need to be paying attention to.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Listen, this conversation is incredibly important and it's very timely because we're at a time in our history, particularly in the United States, but also the world. See, I knew about the piece regarding the United States because I live here. I see it with my eyes. But the piece about the rest of the world was a little surprising to me because I thought, honestly, I gotta confess, I thought they were doing better.
Mm.
Right. I thought they were eating better. But see, the US is not just a great exporter, right? And well, doesn't really export, produce manufactured goods, really import manufactured goods. Conversation for another day.
Uh-huh.
But we are the greatest exporter of culture. The
Mm.
US is the greatest exporter of culture through Hollywood, through music, right? The music scene. But we also export our dietary habits, all right, and our even our healthy habits. More countries and culture outside of the US take up going to the gym because they saw Arnold Schwarzenegger in movies,
Mm.
right? When I was born in Ghana, and as you go to Ghana now, my parents were telling me that there's more gyms than any time that they've ever been to Ghana, and more people are interested now in going to the gym and and pursuing these type of things because they're looking at America, right? And also, more people outside of America are interested in drinking lean because they listen to rap, right? So we export these things. As he moves on, you asked a very important question. I think we have to start out and really identify from the top, which is what is metabolic health. Metabolic health is worth, you're right, wealth. And that's what we're about here, health and wealth. Metabolic health can be defined in a number of different ways. Let me give you a couple of them and you see which one really resonates with you. You can define metabolic health simply as the absence of metabolic disease. All
Mm.
right. It's like, oh, okay. All right, fine. What does that mean? So metabolic health can also be defined by having certain statistics within a healthy range, such as blood sugar level, your waist circumference, blood pressure, cholesterol, um, triglycerides, right? All within a healthy range, as is defined by data collected over the years. Based on those statistics that I just stated, all right, based on those statistics that I just stated, again, blood sugar levels, waist circumference, blood pressure, triglyceride, cholesterol, etc. Only 12% of Americans, 12% of Americans are metabolically healthy, right?
Mm.
Not great at math, but where does that lead us? 88% of Americans are not metabolically healthy.
Bro, can you just break down the word metabolic? I don't even know fully what that means. Like, this is just, I'm sure it could be Googled, right? And somebody listening, you can drop it in the chat. But like, metabolically healthy versus what other type of healthy? Physically healthy? I don't know.
So metabolically simply means as is related to the metabolism.
Got you.
So things that are directly impacted by things we consume, drink, and eat. Right. So these things, like what I mentioned in terms of circumference of the waist, triglyceride, cholesterol, blood sugar, etc., are things that are directly impacted by the things that we consume that are metabolized. Now, obviously, does way more than that, as you and I have known and gone through the process. But all of these things also establish our mental, physical. Now, when we say physical, what does that mean? Because if you have if you have really high cholesterol, it's going to affect you physically, right? But when we think physical, we're thinking external,
Mm-hmm.
right? When we think metabolic, we think physical, but internal, right? But all of these things are connected, as we know,
Right.
right? So think about it like how is your internal environment functioning?
Mm.
How's
Good way
your
to put it.
internal environment functioning? Right. So that's really what we mean. And of course, we know, like I said, I think the thing to really pay attention to is that so few of us are in quote unquote the green zone when it comes to looking at some of these statistics, right? And a lot of us don't even know, because how many times do you go get your blood triglycerides checked? I don't know about you, but I definitely don't. Right.
Never.
And I'm in the field. I definitely don't. Do you?
Not at all. I don't even, don't even know where to get it done. You could just go to a doctor and get it done, or who's checking that?
Yeah, yeah. So typically, a physician could check those things and order some of those tests. But the thing that's scary is brothers, like most physicians, general physicians, aren't even necessarily trained to beyond just the general. Oh, it's within a decent range to recognize signs of metabolic illness developing,
Mm.
right? And the data. And if you want to, and let me do my giveaway right up top. Two books you want to check out right away: Metabolical and Why We Get Sick.
Mm.
Those two books, you want to definitely pick those up, check those out, and dive deep. It is very sciencey, like it is very, very much in the science and the weeds. But if you want to dive real deep, that's where you want to go. Now, we're going to keep it on a high level for this particular show because we only have an hour. All right,
Mhm.
we only have an hour with you. We got a lot to cover today and go through. But the thing we've got to note that is most people are in the red, like deep red, right? And now let me pause there. Like first and foremost, do you know what? Take a guess here, and you guys on Instagram, TikTok, you can take a guess as well. Top 10. Name one of the top 10 leading causes of death in high income countries like the United States.
Leading causes of death. Uh, man, like from a health perspective, not like murder and like suicide
No,
and
no,
stuff.
not like murder or suicide. Although I think those things are considered, and those still don't hit
Yeah.
the level that these top 10 hit.
Like obesity, heart failure.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. You're in the right part.
Yeah,
Cardiovascular, yeah, heart related.
yeah.
Heart related. So heart disease is number one.
Heart disease. Yeah.
Heart disease is number one, and also hypertensive heart disease is on there. So heart disease in general,
Mm.
kidney disease, diabetes,
Diabetes. I was gonna guess that.
COPD,
Yeah.
lung cancer, trachea, broncho cancer, stroke, Alzheimer's, and other forms of dementia. 9 out of these 10 doctors say are preventable
Mm.
and are lifestyle related, and more specifically, food related.
It's huge.
So so we're looking at countries like places where I'm from, and we're saying, oh my gosh, they don't have enough food to eat, and and then we're over here and we're eating ourselves to death.
We're dying because of the food we're eating.
We're eating ourselves to death, right? So when you start looking at these things, and what's really been interesting for me in the last, I'll say year and a half, is diving a lot deeper into the research, more recent research, and looking at, well, yeah, we know it's food related. We know it's lack of movement, it's high stress, it's all of these things. But when it comes to the food, like what is that the base of that? What does that mean? Meaning it's food related. That's where we're gonna dive in a little bit deeper today. All right.
How
So
much do you
Dill,
think? How much do you think people know that, real quick, bro? Like, how much do you think people know that, like, the majority of deaths are related to like things that are preventable, specifically food, like what they put in their body and what they consume? How do you think this is widely known? Do you think people like know it and don't care? What do you
put
think people
up.
say?
Well, let's ask. Let's ask. I don't know. I don't know. Let's ask. If you're on Instagram right now and type in a one, put a one in the chat if you know that 9 out of the top 10 leading causes of death, right, in high income countries like ours is specifically food related, lifestyle related. Put a one in there if you know that already, and a two on there if you didn't. If this is new information for you, I would love to know. So let's do that now. If
Drop
you
those
know,
gems.
if you already know that one, if you already knew one, okay, all right. There's one, Sunshine Girl. I appreciate you.
That's it.
All right, one. Okay, there's another one. Any twos who didn't know? Any twos?
Mm,
One, another one. Okay,
yeah,
another one. Yeah, so people know this, or at least the people that are following us know this.
right.
You guys might be more educated than the average. So yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I think a lot of people do know.
Mhm.
I do think a lot of people know. I also think that, and we're gonna dive deep into it, that it's really difficult to alter behavior due to a number of different things, and that's what we're going to dive into today.
So,
But let's backtrack a little bit.
mm.
People know, they just don't care. Oh, interesting. Yeah. What do you think, bro? You think people know and just don't care?
Uh yes, but you were going down the right path of like I think it's just our environments make it incredibly difficult to actually do it. Right?
Yeah.
Like it's like what's the saying? The odds are not in our favor, right? The odds are stacked against us, right?
Yeah.
That's really it. It's like you kind of know some things, but man, the moment you walk out that house, the moment you turn on the television, the moment you're on social, the moment like it's just inevitable.
Yeah.
Like PJ said, nachos, right? You walk out the
Yeah.
house, it's just they're everywhere.
Delicious. It's delicious. I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah.
And sugar, just addictive as cocaine.
Talk about it.
Yeah, sugar functions in the body just like alcohol. All right, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about nachos, extra cheese, right? But we go into the bottom of this. If we go, okay, food, etc. But what does that mean? See, what's going on right now is a lot of cons- availability, high consumption, and of over processed refined carbohydrates, processed sugar, and processed seed oil and processed meat. Notice the key word there, processed, right? So the thing that I've come to realize is that every diet works for the right person, right? So you're never again gonna hear me, if you have in the past, my apologies. I usually don't, but I'm never gonna say, hey, go with this labeled diet, go with carnivore, go with
Keto.
vegan, keto, um, whatever it is, whatever the label is, because every label has its limitations and it may not be right for that particular individual, right? Every label has its limitation, and you have a mind body spirit complex, an individual that has something going on, a bunch of variables going on. You have the environment they live in, a bunch of variables going on. How can you get on social or anywhere and say, hey, everybody should do this, everybody should eat meat all the time? That's the one I've been seeing more of recently, right?
Mm.
It's moving from like the plant-based to the vegan, and now to the we should all eat meat all the time, right? Not saying you shouldn't, But I'm just saying, how is that feasible for everybody? And
Right.
why we don't even I don't even know your makeup. I have no idea about your family history. I have no idea about your genetics. I have no idea about your environment. I have no idea about any of this stuff. But what we do know for a fact is the more humans intervene with food, meaning from the time it falls off the tree, grows out the ground, or the animal is dead, from the time that happens to the time it gets to your mouth, it depending on how many times it is touched,
Mm.
that the higher, right? So if it's touched once, twice, three, four times, the more issues it causes. Let me give an example. Take an apple from the tree straight to your mouth. Zero processing. Great. Awesome. Take an apple from the tree, cut it up into slice it, and package it in little packages, right? And put it in the store. Level one processing. Take an apple from a tree, cut it up into slices, mash it up, swirl it all around, do whatever they do, right? And make applesauce. Level three, right? Take an apple from a tree, cut it up, swirl it all around, chop it up, smash it, do whatever you do with it, bake it, right? And make apple pie. Level four processing, right? So think about, and then do all of that, right? Apple pie, and now put preservatives in it, put it in packaging, and then leave it on the shelf for 6 months, and then buy it at 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
Level 25 processing.
Listen,
Right?
and all honesty, bro, you skipped a couple steps of it coming off the tree. Then it hits a truck. Then it goes to on a plane to another country or a boat. Then it gets to another truck. Then it goes into a fridge. Then it goes to the shelf. Then you get it first. Then it becomes applesauce and all the other stuff, right? Like it's a lot.
Yeah,
It's a lot
yeah,
of handling.
yeah, yeah. A lot of handling, and all of that changes how the food chemically functions in your body. So whether we're talking about fruits, vegetables, wheat grains, meat, right? The processing of those things lead to a lot of issues.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's really what we're talking about, and one of those issues, one of the underlying issues that it leads to, is your body's inability to respond to insulin. All right, I've talked about this before. Your body's in a, what what level do you use an apple to smoke? Yeah. Yo, people are hilarious. I don't know. I actually don't know. That's a great question. But it's your body's inability to respond to insulin. And bro, this is the what recent research, right, is pointing to, is that this being the underlying issue, or the kind of commonality between all of these issues, such as uh, 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 some of the symptoms including being constantly hungry, like waist circumference fat, right, belly fat, being tired all the time, right, having migraines, aches and pains, craving for additional sugar and salt, inability to actually control your weight, so, and body fat going up, and all of these different things, and then leading to a whole bunch of other issues that I've highlighted in posts that I've made before. All right.
PJ's got it in there. He's got it.
High level fourth.
PJ's on a roll. Shout out PJ on a roll. Get it? No, that's okay. That's okay.
But
Anyways,
and let's see. I mean, you guys go online right now and look at some of the main some of the issues that are associated or rise out of insulin resistance. I mean, it's it's a whole host of things. A whole host of things. And guys, even if you are skinny, this does not absolve you, because we're not going to go too deep into this, but there are two metabolical pathways that take place, and one of them is storage in adipose tissue, meaning stored fat, but the other, it's a whole bunch of other things that relate to skinny people. So from the case of insulin resistance, you have PCOS, right? Genetic poor genetic expression of genetic data and genetic code, type 2 diabetes, rare disorders. And you guys, you can look this up yourself. From there, we see a whole bunch of things just start to go down.
I hear you. Were you finishing that thought?
Just go downhill. I didn't say hell, did I? I thought I said hell.
No, you
I thought
did.
I said hell. All right. Time restriction does help. But let me pause there for a second because that's a whole lot of stuff to really synthesize into one train of thought. What, bro, do you have anything to add to that? Any questions to clarify? I want to make sure this is clear for folks, right? Before we just keep steamrolling on.
No, I mean the insulin resistance piece is always important to continue to touch on. Um, Again, people are struggling with these diseases, right? Like diabetes, PCOS, all those things that you just named. Like people are struggling with those things. So the real question always comes down to, great, what do we need to do, right? What do we need to do in order to make sure that we're setting ourselves up for success in these areas? So I think it's, again, a lot to digest, but it's really about these solutions.
Let's dive into them.
Let's do it.
For a majority of people, I think it's simply, these are lifestyle, right? So we have to correct the lifestyle. And what does that mean? It means for most people, now this is before we dive into personalized medicine, meaning looking at your specific biomarkers, your specific tests, your specific blood test, genetic markers, etc., and coming up with a specific solution for you. But for, like I say, 80-20 rule, for 80% of people, you're looking at eat high quality, unprocessed meats, fish, eggs, local fruits,
Mm,
right? Melons and berries, especially. You talking about eat or juice, my favorite, dark leafy greens. Right? If you don't like to eat them, juice them.
mm,
Drink hydrated water, get plenty of sunshine, ground to the earth, journal, practice nasal breathing, get enough sleep, laugh, play games, dance, etc. Um, all going to decrease in levels of stress and having connection, etc. Limit, if not, and this is really important, limit, if not eliminate, processed carbs, processed sugar, processed seed oil, processed meat. Get stronger, meaning train, right? Make money to spend, give, and invest. Yeah.
there we go. I
All
think
right.
somebody has said this in the chat, right? Like that processed food is less expensive than veggies and, right, some of the other things, which typically can be true. Hence why we have the show. Hence why we're talking health and wealth, because we understand these two things are deeply correlated, deeply related, right? Kabi will tell you that everything starts with health. When I see comments like that, I say, hey, we got to get our money good so we can afford to eat the right ways and put ourselves in the environments that will be conducive to our health, because that's another side of it. Many times we're just succumbing to our financial situation as to the air that we're breathing, the food that we're consuming, the environments that we're in, right? All of those types of things have a lot to do with our financial status as well. So that's why we do the show, because these two things definitely go hand in hand, for us to be able to really improve. Name some of those things that you name. Being able to do grounding, just going outside and putting your feet in some dirt, putting your feet in some soil, some grass, something that's connecting you to the earth. Well, you live in the inner city, inner Detroit, right?
Shout out.
Shout out Detroit, but like, you get into the city, you might not be around grass, right? You might not be able to like actually experience tranquility in your air quality or in the things that are happening. So a lot of that comes down to where you choose to live, your environment, and a lot of that has to do with your financial state as well.
That is true. That is very true. And it's very unfortunate. And I think by getting a deeper understanding of what is happening, we can also help to move some of these things along. Because think about it for a second, right? A lot of these things I'm talking about, eating good food close to the earth, right? more people used to have farms than do before. There's I forget the exact date, but I believe 19 maybe in early 1900s, most if not most families had farms, grew their own food
Right.
until we systematically were removed and pushed. 1940s industrial revolution were pushed into factories, etc., because that now became the way to make more money, right? And not because it was because of the way the actual economic system was being configured, because companies now needed more people to work, right? So they're going to put in legislation that makes it harder for you to grow your food and be self-sufficient.
Mm.
Right? So I think it's important for us to notice these things too. More people had land. Grounding wasn't an issue. Even if you were poor, you could ground. Right? More people had wells, right, that weren't poisoned by all types of activities by companies, etc. Right?
Mm.
More people. There was a period of time where uh, 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 a barber or just somebody with a normal job, right? A man with a normal job could take care of the entire family to the point where nobody lacked anything and nobody needed to go get an extra job to help take care of the family until that changed.
Mm.
Industrial revolution for pushing people from their lands into cities to start taking on these factory jobs that were supposed to make life better. I call me what you will, but I don't know if they actually made life better.
Mm.
All right. It put us and loaded people into these cities, correct? So when you sort of understand what does true health mean, what does it mean? You understand that some of these fake solutions to that were put on or pushed by society, or by corporations who were really out for their own pockets and their own money, we can actually be educated enough and say, nah, that may not be the way to go.
Yeah.
Right. But I think when people aren't educated enough, that's when we can be bamboozled. We can be lied to and pushed and herded into a direction where we're doing things that's ultimately not good for our health.
And that's what we've seen happen. Like the industrial revolution, all those things of moving people into factories and into jobs. I have a feeling we're going to go back the other way, right? I think we've hit our tipping point. I think we've talked about this before on one
Yeah.
of our
And I
episodes.
disagree.
I know you do. I
I
totally,
disagree.
but
There's
like,
no way.
I think we've hit that place, right? To your point of seeing this is happening in the early 1900s, right? In the 30s and 40s, we're making these shifts. What it feels like is our country flourished during those times. Our country's made more money. Our country, right, continued to grow and prosper at the detriment of our health, right? At the detriment of our own well-being. But from the outside looking in, we were prospering, bringing in more money, more jobs, right? All of it,
But
capitalism.
pause for a second. Pause for a second. I think you got to define what it means to prosper, because I believe when you start to look at we all know the supply and demand graph, right? I
Mhm.
believe when you start to really look and study, first and foremost, not everybody prospered equally,
Sure.
right? So, and I'm not saying they should prosper equally. I'm just saying that it was, if you look at what was happening to corporations, right, versus what was happening to the average standard family, right? Where now we started out where a man or a woman with a family could have a job, make enough money where the money was worth something enough where they could take care of their whole family, and nobody else needed to go to factories and go to work. They could actually do all of this health stuff we're talking about. Kids could still go to school if that's the path that they choose, or pick up a trade if that's the path that they choose. They had food that wasn't full of chemicals and processed because they grew it themselves. They had all of this stuff, right? And I believe they had all of this stuff to now where we live, where you need two parents to have an income, right? And you need a side hustle just so you can put the kids through college so they can pick up a whole bunch of debt, just so you could, like, I believe what we really shifted towards and we consider better life was what was actually higher level of consumerism,
Sure.
right? Which actually didn't benefit the quality of life of the family. It actually benefited those that made the things that we buy.
Sure.
right? I'm not saying I think it's important when we dissect it a little differently. We start saying, huh, did we really improve, right?
Right.
I'm
That's
not
why I said
sure.
it's perception. I would say the perception of where we are as a society and a country. And I don't know, even just thinking of this thought, I don't know how many people would agree. I'd be curious to hear, right? But like, I would think that where we are as a society and a country financially, right? Mostly, if we're going to talk about prosperity, we're going to talk about it from like a financial well being space, where we are now in 2022, 2023 versus where we were in 1930, in 1940, we have improved financially. We have prospered more. Like I said, more jobs, more, people making more money. But I think also it's at the detriment of our well-being, our health, the things that now consumerism has allowed us, right? Like having to have the house and having to have the car and living in the metropolitan city and doing all the things and going to work and right, all that stuff has been a detriment to our health, our living. But from the outside looking in, I would still say that like we've been prospering as a society, as a country from the industrial, right, from 1930s for sure.
I think a lot of people would make that argument, but I would rebut with this. I would say this. What are you considering and what are you defining prosper
Like
as?
I said,
Are you
I would say
saying we have more stuff?
I would say that we have the more stuff, but the ability to have more stuff, the ability to have more savings, have more capital, have more assets, have more stuff. Yeah, I think that's
All right. Well, I think if you're defining it as have more stuff, you could be correct. Now, I say could because at the same time we have more savings, we have more, etc. But the things that we have, right? The stuff that we have is of lesser quality,
that
right?
that
The
that I would agree.
shoes that we have are lesser quality. They break more, etc. Nobody makes nice leather shoes that last you for a long time anymore. Need a break, right? Computers are dying because Apple's out. Nah, let me not go there, right?
Yes, talk
Right?
about it. Talk
No,
about it.
no, no. Let me not go there, right? Our buildings don't actually, they aren't built with as much care, So I think our money doesn't buy as much as it used to.
Right.
Let's start there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have more bills, you have more paper, but what is it? Does it actually? What is the purchasing power of that money that you have more of?
Sure.
Right? How when you put it in terms of gold, how much more? Like it's way less. It's way less, and that that mathematically speaking hasn't improved. So I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure if it's like significantly better.
Mm.
I think we like to believe it is because of the way the narrative is woven for us. And how is the narrative woven for us? We learn through history books, which I can tell you right now as a former history teacher is less than accurate in a lot of different depictions, right, of what's actually happening, what's going on, right? And ultimately, we learn also from selective memory, right, or of stories that are being told by people who have an agenda, who
Right.
are the gatekeepers of history. Right. So I don't know if I don't know if that's a blanket statement that I'm like really comfortable just letting lie. Like, oh, it's so much better because let me tell you this too. This is the same lie that was sold. I was born in Ghana. This is the same lie that was sold to my people,
Mm.
right?
It's better.
It's so much better in America, right?
Right.
I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying I'm just saying that when Americans take vacation, they go back to where I'm from. How you gonna take vacation from a place that's better and go back to a place that's not? What sense does that make? Right? Right? But yet everybody that lives in the Caribbeans where we're buying tickets to go vacation, right? It's trying to come to America because it's better.
Right.
Right?
It's just
Yo, I just think there's a little bit of we gotta check those statements, those pure blanket statements, because I'm not sure they're fully true.
Yeah. I'm right there with you. I think that like we do need just more clarity and more clarification around how we measure prosperity, growth, whatever. You know what I mean? Like if things are better, I think we have to have a reasonable barometer for what that means. I think we do agree on the fact though that like our health has declined over that time, right?
No
Like
question.
right, like that's
No question.
yeah, like it just with the invention, introduction to all of these conveniences, moving away from land, all of that stuff, making it easier to get meat, easier to get, vegetables, even though it's been processed, it's been touched 17 times before you
Yeah.
get it. That part is definitely, we've definitely gone backwards on for sure.
Yeah, no question. And you know, I saw the stat the other day. I got to remember the specifics, but it's showing that like an apple, if you take an apple, or if you take like a pound of meat, right? The amount, the level of nutrients in each of those is like 1/5, or like less than like way less than it used to be.
Wow.
So we're eating more to get less nutrients, right?
Yeah.
So and eating doesn't come. Eating isn't free. Eating comes at a cost,
Right.
right? Eating comes at a cost. So there's raw material. There's all types of stuff that needs to be processed. But guys, you know, I just realized we are getting to
We
the
got,
end of the time here.
we got a couple more minutes.
All right,
We got work on.
we're gonna wrap it up. We're here every Wednesday, so you guys should join us. I mean, I think this episode right here requires another day of really diving deep, because we got to dive a lot more into the solutions of what do you do. Because one thing I believe, processed food isn't going anywhere.
Mhm.
Okay. You can go move, get your own land, start your own farm. You know, I know my man C Muzan has a solution with vertical farming and a
Let's
few other
go.
stuff in place. You can do
Let's go.
all of those things. But see, when you riding around town, picking up your daughter from soccer practice, and she's hungry right now, you're not gonna go to the vertical farm and pick some peppers and make her
Maybe.
thing. No, you're not. No, you're not. Stop lying to yourself.
Maybe,
Stop
maybe
lying to
it's
yourself.
all it's all
Stop.
market. Listen, it's all marketing. You said something very key on one of the first shows, one of the first episodes that we had, early first 10. You said, "When's the last time you saw a commercial for fruit, for anything, for a banana, for an apple? Like, when's the last time you saw a commercial for fruit?" That is it. It's a marketing play. This is actually the idea of building out the vertical farm. Is it's not just about having it, it's about how we market it. If it is on the way to school and it's in the midst of a playground, and there's a tree with an apple or something, and it's fun and it's safe and it's clean, why wouldn't that be a viable snack for your child? Huh? 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 Huh?
It wouldn't be, but I would say, I would say, brother, continue dreaming, because that's only happening in third world countries right now, and even they are turning away and moving towards the way of America, because America is the greatest exporter of culture. And I'm telling you right now, having lived in a third world country, they don't want to live that way. They want to live the way Americans live. They want McDonald's, right? They're clamoring for McDonald's. They don't want they have vegetables and whatnot. They have mango trees. And when I was a kid walking around, I didn't go home because I had mango trees, right? And we still moved because America was better. So, hey, best of luck competing marketing dollars with Coca-Cola, because I'm telling you right now, they're gonna smash you to bits and pieces.
No, they're gonna try to. They're gonna. If they can't beat us, they're gonna join us. They're gonna try to take it over.
Oh, they're
Uh,
gonna buy you out and shelf you. Buy you out and put you on the shelf. That's what
our,
they're
our
gonna do.
message cannot be shelved.
Oh,
Our mission cannot be silenced. It will.
okay,
It will live
okay.
on.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to give a shout out to Liver Fraud. I mean, Liver King. I mean, the Fraud King. I mean, Liver King. What? Forget his name. Listen, my guy, you are a great marketer. You're still a great marketer, as far as I'm concerned. Shout out Barry Bonds. Right. And we all kind of knew, but it's still funny to see it all kind of go down. I thought it was hilarious. But you know what? Hey, listen, if you didn't know that man was on steroids, then I got some land in Kathmandu to sell you.
Uh,
Come
Very
back.
true.
We got some more solutions for you on how to protect yourself from the effects of processed foods and other ways of living in the modern food environment.
That's right. And don't forget, feel free to join our Facebook group. Guys, we got our Facebook group that's you'll get a little bit more access to Kabi and myself, more tips around health and wealth and what we can do to grow and develop plans to design the life that we want. So join us in our Facebook group. Again, this is where you'll get a little bit more access to us, a little bit more one-on-one time. If you're watching on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, you see it on the bottom of the screen, bit.ly/TGL Connect. So bit.ly/TGL Connect, the Good Life Connect. We want you to connect with us in that Facebook group, guys, because we want to build community with people that are like-minded, that want to continue to learn and grow and get better in these areas. So join us over there on Facebook, guys.
Appreciate you guys joining us on our platforms and allowing us to speak a little bit on something we're passionate about. We'll be back next week. Until then, peace.
Later, y'all.